Welcome to Tenacious Entrepreneurs, where perseverance meets purpose and every setback is just another step forward. Join us as we dive into the journeys of entrepreneurs who faced failures, embraced change, and emerged stronger than ever. Whether you're dreaming big or already on your way, this podcast is here to remind you that the end is only the beginning. Stay inspired, stay tenacious, and let's conquer the entrepreneurial world together.
Hey, this is Joey Dupont, your host. Welcome back to the Tenacious Entrepreneur Show, where we're telling stories from entrepreneurs that actually made it through tough challenges in their lives and how they made it to push through. Today we got a special guest on the show. Courtney Randall is going to be sharing a lot of life decisions that she's made with us, and she's really a executive coach, is what she do, coaching and consulting and social media. And I actually just hired her to help me with some of my social media. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
This is a really interesting and great opportunity. I have become a business consultant because of where I come from. Most people start with their childhood and making decisions. So I come from a neighborhood where most people need opportunities, and I have found a way to provide opportunities to those in need. And so I find entrepreneurs like yourself very interesting because you pave the same way for other people.
Right on. Well, we're going to dig down a little bit and actually get back into your origin story.
All right.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, where did you grow up? Like, what was your childhood? Like, did you grow up you live in Slidell now?
Yes. So originally, when my parents were together, we lived in New Orleans East when I was a baby, and we moved 11 times before third grade.
Oh, wow. Okay. 11 times before third grade. That sort of makes it tough to make friends that are like long-lasting friends. Like,
I really appreciate stable people.
Yeah.
My parents are great, and my mom especially really showed me ways of taking care of people. She was a property manager most of my life, so although we moved a lot, there were still like stable relationships because my mom always was there for the kids of the neighborhood. When their parents fell short on something, she was always there to like help out in some way.
So you were the house that all the kids came and hung out at? Yeah,
basically. Yeah, okay. My mom made sure everybody was taken care of, and so I embodied that as an adult. In my work, I've had many different jobs.
Well, we got time, so I'm gonna unpack this a little bit.
Yeah, let's do that.
So you like went from, you moved around a lot, and then in the third grade you settled somewhere. You're saying like
kind of Pearl River, Louisiana.
Okay.
So
the hub of the universe.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right. Pearl River, Louisiana.
It's a nice place.
Yeah.
So we settled down there. We finally bought a house and had some stability within our family. And it was
what
my
did your
first
dad do?
Taste commercial fisherman.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was, bayou boy.
That is super interesting. Like, okay, so tell me about that. Like, okay, commercial fisherman. Like, I mean, you're saying like of course, the first thought comes to mind is, the gator guy, shoot him.
Well, yeah.
So was he like a fisherman, like you're saying like a fishing guide, or are you saying like he was like,
everything in
like
the water.
when caught shrimp or
everything in the water. It didn't matter. He had his push pull drag endorsement. He did crew changes with the oil riggers.
Okay, slow your roll a bit. Push
fisherman,
pull drag endorsement. Like nobody that's watching this show up north knows what you're talking about. So go ahead and tell us what you're saying. Like he had.
Oh my gosh.
What's push pull drag and
Okay, so we have big barges out here that like seed the oyster beds, and they use big fire hoses, and they will throw like limestone into the water and help the oysters have something to stick to. There wasn't anything in the water my dad didn't really do. So when you say like a typical like regular job, my dad didn't have that. He was always like when the water called, if there was a cold front, he was on the water kind of thing.
So he was always just like outgoing. So like you grew up being on the boats and.
So the moving and all the things, it's like.
But you settled down in Pearl River.
Yep.
But your dad was like the guy that was always out on the water fishing and doing stuff like that. Did he take you with him, or was it just like this is us and the guys, or?
No, he was always like, come see how to do this, and get your boots, and wanted us to participate.
So you grew up a little bit of a tomboy, like you had to.
Oh yeah, I'm a bayou girly.
Okay. So your dad grew up being the fisherman. And it's funny, like, so my dad I remember like my whole life, I remember him telling stories about one day I'm going to take a barge out to the oyster beds and just, anchor it and just go dive for oysters and pull oysters up and stuff. And I remember like we never did it, but I always thought in my mind, like, how does that even work? And don't people own the oyster beds? Can't you? like,
You're right.
like, I guess you get a lease or something like that. Is what your family have leases
So
for
I
it?
can
Or?
tell you, my dad was no paperwork artist. We did not come from much, and he
Okay.
was very much from deckhand on up, just a laborer, and learned the ropes and got the endorsements and worked really hard for that. My mom was always the anchor. So there was a
Okay.
time that my dad was a Rolling Stone, and it was just me, my mom, my sister.
Yeah.
And so through my teenage years, it was me, my mom, my sister. And so I learned what it
Now your
meant.
sister's older or younger?
Younger. I have one younger sister.
Like 5 years younger, 2
She's
years.
3.5 years younger than me.
Okay.
Yep.
All
She's
right.
a LSU
I'm just trying to get like an
grad.
understanding of like the dynamics.
So she's a college graduate. She graduated from LSU School of Dentistry. She's a dental hygienist of
Go
many
Tigers.
years.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There you go.
But we live very different lives. I went to college for
Yeah.
accounting, and quickly found out that
Accounting. I can't picture you as an accountant like that. That's not. I mean, I know you a little bit. Like your personality is not like the detailed, normal engineering type person that's an accountant.
Yeah, I'm like a little tornado sometimes because
Okay.
I like to do a lot of things all at once.
Okay.
Like, let's go get it.
Okay. So your sister went to LSU but going backwards a little bit, like, okay, your dad's a commercial fisherman, your mom's there, your dad's sort of in and out a little bit because he's a Rolling Stone. But so you went to high school at Pearl River?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the high school there? Is like Pearl River High or like what's?
Ooh. Pearl River High is a
Come on, it
very
wasn't that long
small
ago.
school. We got 2 red lights.
Okay.
Okay, like we got 2 red lights. They're not that big.
Okay.
But I love my little high school. It wasn't very big. I was on the cheerleading team or dance team throughout junior high and high school, and really found a way to excel when certain standards were required.
Mm-hmm.
It actually motivated me because being a kid that comes from little, you don't have as much home training. So having that structure in high school, getting into the team life, and then seeing the opportunities available if you were able to work with others well,
Right.
like inspired me to get my stuff together in high school and like get serious about school.
So were you like the party girl, or were you like the books girl, the nerdy? I'm gonna do my.
I was definitely more of the party type. And then when they told me that I wasn't going to graduate high school my 10th grade year, my guidance counselor was
Buckle down.
like, hey, look, there's no way you're going to graduate. You should just get your GED and just save everybody a lot of time and trouble.
Oh wow.
I was a troubled teenager.
Okay, I get it.
Kicked out of school, sent to another school, sent back to the original school kind of thing.
Okay, I get it. So whenever I was I think 14, I was the kid that I had 2 brothers that were older. So like I had a 5 years older and a 10-year older brother, and so I grew up with access to things that my friends didn't have. Like when I was 14, my next brother was 19, the next one, so like I could get alcohol, I could get whatever they wanted, and so like I was always the house that everybody came to for the parties, and we always like hung out, and so I wasn't like a horrible kid, at least in my standard of measuring a horrible child. But I would skip school all the time and throw keg parties and have. I remember we had like a jungle juice party one time. I invited everybody from school, and it got out like they thought that there was like some type of mass sickness because there were so many kids that were out of school. And one of my friends ended up like we put everything into the jungle juice, and my dad had a full bar, and I took the moonshine that he had in there that he got from Tennessee or someplace, and I poured a little bit of that in there. I always poured like enough to where he wouldn't notice, and I'd water it down a little bit, and come to find out they had some type of fungus growing on that moonshine. My best friend ended up going to the hospital getting his stomach pumped, and so I got branded like the bad kid. None of the parents wanted me to be around their kids. My best friend ended up like, having to move out of the state. Like, I didn't see him for like another 6 years or so, and then eventually my parents shipped me off to military school so that I could get my life straight. Didn't work. In military school, I ended up actually getting into drugs and stepping into that lifestyle. I quickly became, I was always an entrepreneur, so I became a drug dealer. Fast forward.
Naturally.
Yeah, naturally. Became a drug dealer because I wasn't going to pay for my own drugs. I mean, I was going to make a profit. So I got into that lifestyle, and it wasn't until I was 15 years old. I actually remember my parents told me that, I was going to go back to military school the next year, or I was going to go to this church youth camp. And I was like, I didn't want to tell them, but the commandant was already on to me. Like, I already had people like narking on me, telling me that selling me out. And so I was like, I'm going to prison if I go back to military school, because they're gonna find out.
They're gonna catch you.
Yeah, they're gonna catch me for sure. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm like, I'll go to that church camp. Like, there's girls there. There's, like, this will be a fun thing. And it was a huge youth group. Like, it was like, I think 3,000 people in the youth group. So like, it's a bigger, huge youth group. And I was like, okay, I'll go to the youth camp. Well, at that youth camp is where I actually had like my turning point of my life, and truly, like, a lot of people, like, they say that they had like this turning point experience, like where they're like, okay, well, I stopped being rebellious, I stopped partying, but like I was always like extreme. So like I went like from the extreme of party, selling drugs and doing the crazy stuff.
There's usually a reason for our extremes, though, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Because if Papa wasn't a Rolling Stone and Mama wasn't working so hard, I wouldn't have had so much free time to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a root to it.
I wanted some attention.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna get it one way or another.
Right.
You have that mentality. And then it wasn't until I had my daughter at 21 years old. She's 13 now. So I was a young mother, and I decided from that point forward, I didn't want to work the nightlife or the quick cash, like waitressing tables, bartending, because it was easy money. I was like, I'm gonna get an office job. So that was the first like inclination to deciding what I wanted to do. It wasn't even stepping out of the party style. I still like champagne, okay? But I found that if I could find work that gave back to other people, that didn't hurt me to give back, because sometimes you give a lot and you end up hurting yourself in the giving process.
Yeah.
I want to be a gracious giver. I want to be able to give enough that it doesn't hurt me to give it. And so I found that business coaching was a way that I could help mold entrepreneurs into treating their employees, not like employees or slavers, but like people that they sponsor their life.
Yeah.
Like, I want to help people be better sponsors of their employees.
And we're gonna get there, because I want to sort of like build this, like, okay, you were in and out of school.
Mm-hmm.
I identify with that because like I went to military school and I didn't graduate the same year that all my friends graduated, because I was the party guy that messed up, and I got my life straight. But that so at graduation time, you graduated obviously.
Yep, I had to do 10 online classes.
Okay.
I had to take 2 years worth of summer school, and I had to get straight A's.
I went to summer school so many times that they literally had a desk with my name on it at Redemptus High School every summer, like from the time I was in middle school. Every summer I was in summer school, so I get it. But so you graduated through all of the hard stuff, and
after being picked up 8 times for truancy.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So you
and doing the diversion program where you have a curfew and gotta go home at a certain time, and have to do all the classes like 4 times a week, and I did all that.
So they like, you get your money's worth out of school. Like
I learned everything.
You learned everything,
yes.
And went through it. So you graduate, and like, did you go to college, or did you like, what was the path at 18, like, or 17?
So what they don't tell you is if you pick an out-of-state school, it's a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
And I decided, hey, I'm going to go to an out-of-state school to get as far away from home as possible at 17. So I got the worst Pell Grant deal available, and I went to school for about a half a year before my car started smoking and quit working.
Isn't it crazy? Like, all those life choices that we have to make at like
yes.
17, it's just not fair. Like,
it really shouldn't be pushed like that.
Yeah,
probably.
I mean, like, we should make them at 40. I think that would be great. Like, let's make those life choices.
It's more appropriate.
But so at 17, where'd you go to school? Where'd you go to college?
Pearl River Community College in Poplarville, Mississippi for accounting. And I had to be not a graduate assistant. That's Dale Carnegie. But I worked as a teacher's aide.
But I need to focus for a second here.
Okay.
Like, how did you? Okay, I'm a crazy party girl, had a hard time getting out of school. Okay, but at some point, somebody said, "Hey, you should be an accountant." Or did you just like grasp a hold of this and
No,
like,
so let me go back all the way to second grade for a second.
okay, all right,
When I lived in St. Bernard for a short period of time, we had a little trailer down Susie Drive, and we lived by the down the road soldiers where they like spray paint the gas pumps and like pee in the street.
yep,
And so I went to JF Goche at the time, and there was a girl down the street. Her name was Lisa, and she would need lunch money every day. So she would take my little pennies to buy her lunch. So I started getting my mom to buy extra pencils, and I would sell them outside of the library because you would get in trouble if you didn't have a pencil in class. So the library sold them for like 25 cents, and I would sell mine for 10 cents. So I would make back my lunch money
you were an entrepreneur,
in second
right?
grade.
Okay, in second grade, you were an entrepreneur. Okay,
I was. I had to. I mean, you just get to a point where like I knew she needed it more than I did kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like I wanted to tell on her or get her in trouble, but like it took me a while to figure out what was going on, but I knew I had to eat because I was hungry
Yeah,
kind of thing. So that was my first little taste of entrepreneurship was second grade. So I always knew that people needed to make money to be happy, not to be happy that you need money, but you want your time back. You have to buy it, essentially. Like you hired me to do a job because you don't have time.
right.
Same thing.
So, but how did that translate into I'm going to become an accountant?
I thought accounting was learning money,
Okay.
and it wasn't.
Okay, I
I
get
learned
it.
quickly I had to go quit school for accounting to go make money. So
Okay, I get it now. That makes sense. Like you sort of associated like being able to count money with having your money. You didn't realize you were going to be counting other people's money.
Right, that
and
part.
so that
And it
part-
was more spreadsheets, and
Yeah.
it was old like Microsoft stuff, Excel and things that now we have like Google Sheets, things that work a little better,
Yeah,
AI,
Yeah.
data software. That
So
was
how
not
did
a
that
thing.
transition happen from, okay, I'm not going to be, you got the Pell Grant, your car is blowing up,
So
you're-
embarrassing.
Yeah, you're
There was
freaking
like
out.
cute boys in my car smoking. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
it's not good.
I get it. So you get out of okay, I'm not going to be an accountant. Like okay, this is not for me. Then what was your next step? Like what did you do?
Well, I auditioned to be on a TV show called Party Down South,
Okay.
and I thought I was going to be a party girl on TV because I
Okay.
was like, I just need to make money.
Yeah.
When I left being an accountant in school, I started working on Bourbon Street
Okay.
at Bourbon Cowboy.
Okay.
I was a go-go dancer, a door barker, beer tub, shot girl, you name it. I tried it.
Whatever you got to do to make some money. Yeah.
Yeah, I had 3 very bad experiences. Like 3, it sounded like the beginning of a bad joke. I don't even know if I should share it.
You're welcome to. That's what we're here for. This is a real show. Like
okay,
this
good.
isn't like this isn't for like
The
Yeah,
way
ch-
I'm going to say it might be a little offensive, but I don't mean for it to be. It's just the facts. So I got drugged by a white guy, robbed by a Mexican, and choked by a black guy.
okay.
So it sounds like the beginning of a bad joke because it was a horrible experience. I was in danger. I was walking streets I shouldn't, at hours I shouldn't, with
Yeah.
cash on me.
Yeah.
I did that for about a year and a half. And I had a tubal pregnancy with a guy I was engaged to. And so when we separated, he was not a faithful man. I had this like urge that I wanted to have a baby, and I was very young. I was 21 years old when I had my daughter.
Okay.
When I met her father, I told him I got a call back for the TV show, and they wanted me to fly to California, and I would be paid like a ridiculous sum of money every episode that aired. And that's what I was going to go do, unless somebody wanted to get married and have kids, because I'd love to get married and have kids, because that was the life that I really wanted because of how my mom
Right.
raised us.
Right,
And
right,
it
right,
just
right.
was something that really sat close to me, especially because you can pick a dangerous situation or you can pick a healthy one that you enjoy.
Right.
And I was like, I want a healthy one I enjoy. And so he was like, well, yeah, let's have a baby and don't go do that TV show. So I didn't, and I stayed back, and we got married, and I had my daughter. And when I had her, I just knew I didn't want to be in danger. I just wanted to be able to provide good situations for people.
Right. Right. So you had your daughter at 21,
Mm-hmm.
and then so at 21, did you still work or did you like?
I did.
Okay, so
Oh God, here we go.
yeah.
So this is the meat of it.
I'm getting into it. Like I'm trying to dig. I'm
This is
getting
the
in.
thick of it.
Okay.
So when I had Briella, I was actually let go from my job at an RV park at 7.5 months pregnant on the 4th of July after working an 11-hour shift by myself. I had gotten another girl a job because she was actually pregnant and had a pet allergy, and she was a pet groomer. So I was like, let me get you in over here. It's an office job. And she ended up taking my position, which is okay. It was a girl I was on cheerleading with in high school. And so she got my office and my job, and I got let go, and I turned in my keys. And then right after that, I delivered Briella in August, the end of August. And her dad came home and was like, you're going to answer the cell phone I pay for, because I was taking a little nap. And he only paid $45 for that phone. It was like a prepaid cell phone. And at that point, I was like we were living in my place. Like, I had helped him get a job, helped him with school, a bunch of other things. So I just, that bitterness in me was like, I don't want to be bitter. I'm like, you know what? I just won't have anybody pay for anything.
Right.
I'm okay with that. Like, I'll just go make my own
money. Make your own way.
Yeah. So I did. I applied for, oh my gosh, so many jobs. I was a Pizza Hut, like manager. I think there was like another clothing store in there. I quit Christmas Eve and went and bought a Christmas tree and went home for my daughter's first Christmas, because they wanted me to work till like 1:00 in the morning. Christmas Eve, my daughter's first Christmas home, and I was barely healed from
having the baby.
Her. And at that point, when I left that job, I knew I still had to work for other people, and so I was blessed to end up with some other opportunities that got me into dispatching and logistics, and like really grew my career from there. But like, the seeds were planted all the way back in second grade for like just the mentality that it takes to like, I know what I don't want.
Right. So you decided, okay, I'm just going to work for myself, or I'm trying to figure out like, when did you transition into, because that's a big jump, like from like working for somebody, no matter where it is, RV park,
so the
Pizza Hut, wherever it is, like to like, I'm going to do my own thing.
It is. And so I was brave enough once before. When I got the dispatching job, it was for a construction company doing roll-off dumpsters and portalettes, and there was some issues with the internal management of that business. And so I started applying to other jobs for dispatching, because one of the employees there told me, like, now that you have dispatching on your resume, you can work anywhere. And that was super encouraging to me, because like, college dropout, I got a baby, I'm freaking out. You know, my man doesn't want to pay my $45 cell phone bill.
Right.
I was just full-blown panic. So took that job and then applied for more logistics jobs, and ended up working for a really large bus company actually here in the city. They have 6 sister companies, 200 buses, like 5 lots of their own.
And so that got you into a little bit more of an executive style
I started
job.
seeing the B2B side of things.
Right.
How things connect, like doing the crew changes with the buses, or doing military troop movements. We did the March for Life to DC every year, and learning like how many drivers it took, how many hotel rooms, airplanes, buses. I just really dug into my work, because it helped me deal with ignoring a part of my life and people from my life that distract me from the good life that I actually want. So I just doubled down into work from about 2016. I was about 26 years old. I started doing an MLM company selling seaweed drinks. And all these people were like, you need to read books. You need to do this. You need to look up Jim Rohn and all these people.
Right.
And I did. And from there, it was just, you get hooked, you know?
Yeah. So you became a person that understood the power of motivation, and the power of like having, you know, a goal and a focus and a purpose. And so you stepped out and said, okay, I'm going to do this on my own.
So going back to the entrepreneur piece, because I know we need to get there.
My
story is like thick.
But it's good.
Got a lot of layers.
But that's what I want to. That's what I want to do. Like, we got plenty of time.
Good.
You're the last guest on the show, so like we got
perfect.
time. So I'm trying to unpack it to figure out, because entrepreneurs struggle with like, there's people out there right now that are like saying, okay, I'm waiting tables, I'm working at a club, I'm living this lifestyle, I've got a child at home, and I don't have a path forward. I don't see how I'm in a dark area, and I don't see how to get the light. And all I'm getting with you is to be able to shine a flashlight and be like, look, there's a way out of this. Like,
100%.
you don't have to work for other people. You don't have to just, you know what I'm saying? Just because like
Yes.
you identified yourself
So
as something, like, you can transition.
So
into
going
something
back
else.
to the bus company, because I want to tell this story in its full length, because I think it's worthy of that.
Yeah.
So like working for the bus company, I was a dispatcher, then I was a fleet manager, then I got into like operations management. That's where my best mentor ever came from. He taught me everything from like who manages us under the government and like all the details of that. Very thorough teacher. And then I wanted to move not from under my boss. I loved my boss, but I wanted to learn sales because there were a few opportunities where we got to go network in the city and go to different luncheons and meet different people. And I started learning just about the environment around me, like who was truly a part of it and who was helping to build it. And so I enjoyed that part of the work so much that I was like, can I please switch to sales, like charter sales?
1 second. We're going to have to figure out what
Yeah.
the Okay, good. I'm sorry. We'll pick back up and
Okay,
re-break
sorry.
this in together. I just want to make sure it wasn't your
Right.
car and somebody
Yeah.
broke in and we're in New Orleans. So.
Oh God, I hope it's not either one of ours.
Yeah, no, I was just like, okay, I want to make sure
any of
nobody's broke in.
ours.
Okay, well, and we'll break back in at we're in the middle of talking about sales, like you. So segue back in, like so you
Yeah.
decided you want to get into sales.
Yeah, I wanted to move to sales because I saw the opportunity to meet new people. And I knew that the people that I was exposed to earlier in life didn't necessarily have the life that I wanted. Not that they didn't want the same things I wanted. They just, like you said, had these blinders on where they couldn't see that light being shined on a spot. And I was lucky enough to have a few people come through my life that exposed that to me and was like, hey, look at the big picture. If you just zoom out a little bit, you can see how we all have 168 hours a week. You're able to divide that time however you see fit. And if you organize your thoughts well enough, you can delegate some of that time to other people and still have it benefit you.
Yeah.
And so when I started to learn about hours in the week and how to use my Google Calendar and my tools, it was on. But when I left the bus company, I thought I could be an entrepreneur then. And I probably could have, but life brings many distractions. So when I left the bus company, I fell behind on my mortgage. I had left my marriage. I had to pay for a lawyer to get through that period of my life.
Right.
And so not having a regular steady paycheck and making the decision to, hey, I'm going to start a marketing company. And that was, again, like 2018.
I'm just laughing because it reminds me of the guy that was like, I had a genie tell me I'm going to, quit my job and become a millionaire. I quit my job today. I'm halfway there. Like as an entrepreneur, like you think like, okay, I quit my job and I'm going to
You think you're going to have
be
all the
successful.
free time and all the thoughts will come,
Everything's
right?
going to come. Opportunity's going to come. And it doesn't. Like
Yeah.
it's like, it's tough. I mean, like to
I
start.
had studied for a while, 2016, 2018. I had 2 years of studies in. I'm like, I'm going to quit my job. I got 2 years of studies in. I'm ready. I'm going to go start a marketing company.
Yeah.
I had never even worked in a marketing company. I just knew that when working in sales, what would tee me off the most was the fact that marketing wasn't there. Like we had a sales team, we had an ops team, but marketing was kind of flat. Like marketing was just you looking up what trips were going to happen in the future for the NFL, NBA, or whoever, and then trying to
sell it.
And then
trying to sell it. It wasn't actually
100%.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was like, marketing was a big focus, and SEO had just become like a big thing on the scene where it was like, you got to have a website with SEO. When I was trying to open my marketing company, I'm embarrassed to say how little I knew. But when I left that company, I had met a few new friends and got introduced to a fitness brand. It's one of the fastest growing fitness brands in the world right now. And I was lucky enough to be hired to be one of their performance coaches.
Okay.
They wanted a marketing director, and I applied for that position. And the CEO was like, you know what? You like to study. You'd be a better coach than you would marketer for me. So not only could I not start my own marketing company, I couldn't even get hired as a marketing director.
Right.
So green. But
Yeah.
I was like tenacious. I was excited. I wanted to get in there and like do everything.
Yeah. And this thing I tell entrepreneurs all the time is that piss and vinegar doesn't equal success. Just because you're full of energy. I've seen energetic people that like go out there and try to do stuff, and they're not really entrepreneurs. They're just rebellious. Mm-hmm. They don't want to be told what to do. Mm-hmm. So that's the reason why. And like the most successful entrepreneurs I know actually seek out people to tell them what to do. Like they actually try to find people to, I have a coach in my life. Like the most successful people you know are coached.
Yep.
And like at some point, like I think that trigger has to like snap where you're like, okay, I need a mentor. Like I need somebody to help me to understand what I'm doing. So like you're in there, you're not doing the marketing because you can get hired for that. you're doing the coaching, and then at what point did you step out on your own?
Well, let me explain a little bit of the coaching because I want to lead us to where I am.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I, a long time ago, years ago, before I was ever qualified to be like, I want to be a life coach. I still am not qualified to be like, I want to be a life coach. I don't think that about myself, because you'd have to have your whole life together in order to say that, right?
Right.
So I thought business coaching was the next best thing because business and life kind of go together at a certain point. Like entrepreneurs are just looking for their time back mostly. But when I worked for the fitness brand, I was able to pick the locations, help with the pre-marketing process, the pre-sale process, like really get to know the numbers, the KPIs, like if I did this, what would happen? And so coming from where I come from, having, $30 million over a 6-year period to invest across the country and be in different markets and deal with unions and contractors and like city council and like all the things, having those experiences has been invaluable to me.
So where did you get the $30 million? I didn't hear that part.
So the franchisees, they build out these locations and they're $330,000 to $500,000 a piece.
Okay.
And I worked
And you were
with
coaching them.
88 locations.
And you were
over
coaching
6
those
years
guys.
to profitability.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would help them like acquire members, fine tune their marketing, run A/B tests with the CEO of that company to get his studios profitable. I had a really decent sized portfolio. I did about 88 of those locations overall and had 60 that were on my team.
Okay. So that explains that. I was trying to unpack that part like that.
I didn't know I wanted to be a business coach.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. I wanted to start a marketing company.
Yeah.
But then I found that my original mentor from the bus company told me one really valuable statement. He said, sales needs marketing and marketing needs ops. Ops' job is to save money. Marketing's job is to spend money and sales' job is to make money. And he's like, so unless you can get all three departments to see eye to eye and the true numbers, each department can suffer in its own special way. So having this 6 years of playing with other people's money, if you will, not playing with it, but really working with them to find the best answers based on data, I was able to study way more than I ever thought I would be able to. And now that I'm like, okay, now I know how to monetize social media for stay-at-home moms, like people that just want to stay home with their kids and want to make some extra cash. I learned those platforms for business, but it also helps really anyone. So like I have people that come to me that aren't like, they're never going to be my clients, but I can still share knowledge with them to help them get 12,000 followers on TikTok in a month and a half, to where they can grow their accounts. I see value in giving people opportunities to make their own money, like teaching them how to fish.
Yep. So you went from $30 million, like you're managing $30 million worth of stuff with these 60 to 80, companies. And then you're moving into your own, like, okay, I can do this for them. I can help just a regular person.
I need 8 clients in my current business to replace my income from my corporate job. So when the data speaks, you listen. And so May of this year, I left and went full speed with my own coaching company.
Okay.
Because I figure like I don't want to manage 60 locations across the nation. I feel like your service starts to suffer unless it's an exact copy paste model.
Right.
But if you had 8 to 10 people that you could really dive in and add value to over the long term, it would be worth every minute spent doing that. Because like I just want good people in my life, and I don't want to be stupid rich. I just want to be comfortable enough that I can help people and it doesn't hurt me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think it's so like as an entrepreneur, like I feel like the first time I saw, I'm trying to think back, like when of course I was an entrepreneur. I think you're sort of born into it. Like you're in the second grade and you're selling pencils. You're an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Like you saw a need and you filled it. Mm-hmm. You just didn't necessarily get all the coaching on how to like develop that into an actual lifestyle. So you step back into working with other people. But like the problem I told, like my daughter went to join the Navy, and I was like, look, you probably ought to go to college and go through our like training for ROTC, so that you can step in as an E5, like somebody that actually has like leadership ability, because you've been brought up as a leader, mm-hmm. and you're going to be super frustrated underneath all these idiots that are over you, that have no wisdom and no understanding. And I think as an entrepreneur, like you get into job and it gets frustrating because it's like, okay, I know better than this. Like, they should be doing this. They should be doing that. Like, we got to get this. We got to get that.
You don't want to be the middleman for bad
Right.
decisions.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, so I think like jumping into, for me, I think when I was 20, and I started with I started working for an RV dealership. My dad had an RV dealership, and I got out of the RV business I started selling when I was 15. Started selling RVs, and I went with my dad and did that. My dad was planning on turning the business over to me, and I ended up not doing it. I went to college and said, I'm going to go this direction. And so he sold the RV dealership to somebody else. And I actually ended up going back to work for that guy 2 years later that he sold it to, and worked for him for a couple of years. And I started having the same problem. Like, I started seeing like, okay, there's some areas that are really broken here. Like, they don't understand this, they don't understand that, and they don't understand this. And so like I stepped out of, at some point, I remember I sold an RV to my pastor, who was Larry Stockstill, over a 10,000 member church. I sold him an RV, and it was a horrible RV, and something went wrong with it. And
Oops.
and I was like, I went back to them. I was like, hey, we got to do something. We got to help him out. I mean, he's a pastor of a 10,000 member church. Like, can we do something? And I remember that guy told me, he said, there's 3 P's I don't worry about: pimps, prostitutes, and preachers. They're not going to sue me. Deal with it. And that day, I remember sitting in the van with Pastor Larry, and I didn't tell him what he said because I was embarrassed, but I was like, I just don't know if this is really for me. Like, this may not be my thing. And he said, Joey, have you ever thought about doing your own thing? And I was like, maybe, I don't know. And so like at 20 years old or 21, I think I started my first business. It was in an RV dealership. It was just an RV. I had one RV.
Wow.
And I went and had I was selling them out of one of my buddies' business that he had. I literally rented a closet in his business. And it was, when I say it was a closet, I mean, it wasn't a big closet. It was like an 8x7. And I put a whiteboard on the wall, and I put the number of RVs I was going to sell for the month. And I remember I put like 1 through 10 to where I could put the people's names on the list. And I had one RV. So I put 1 through 10, that was the amount of RVs I was going to sell for the month. And ended up staying there for a little while, and grew from there to the point whenever I finally got out of the RV business. We were selling 100 a month. We were doing $30 million a year. It was like,
Good job.
hey, we went there, but I'm saying like, it came from that point of saying, hey, I need to do something on my own. I need to step out. I need to, and now, was I smart? Heck no.
I was smart the second time I left corporate to start my own company. This time I'm profitable.
Yeah.
Okay, first time I was a ghost. I didn't know what I was doing.
Well, that's it. It's like, I didn't, so all my life, from the time I can remember, pretty much from the time I can remember, I would go up, if I saw people with white hair, I'd go up and say, what do you wish you would have done? What do you wish you wouldn't have done? Those 2 questions I asked. Like, from the time I was like 8 or 9 years old, I remember I'd go visit the nursing homes. I'd get my parents to go bring me, so that I could actually sit down with the people that were in the nursing home, and I'd be like, okay, you're at the point of life where you can teach me. And I would ask them at like 9 years old, 10 years old, like, what did you wish you would have done? What do you wish you wouldn't have done? And I learned so much from those people, and I applied it into my life. And then I started recognizing as I grew, like, I ended up having RV dealerships and campgrounds and, a bunch of things in the RV industry. And I remember thinking, I went to a guy right after I had the RV dealership in the closet RV guy. I went from there to, I started feeling guilty because I got to the point where I was selling 10 RVs, a month. But I didn't have a license. I was running everything illegally, and I started feeling guilty. And I was like, okay, I probably ought to just, not do this anymore. So like I went to, I had a bunch of consignments. I got on the phone. Back then we had the newspaper. I got on the phone and I called every person in the newspaper and said, hey, I can sell your RV. And I got 10 people that agreed to let me sell their RV. And so I had 10, I had probably 25 or 30 RVs on the lot that I convinced people to let me sell their RV. And I finally, after I got trade in after trade in after trade in, and I didn't have a license, and I was doing open titles, and it was everything more wrong. Like, it was wrong. There's a statute of limitations, so state, you can't come get me now. That was a long time ago. But but I remember, like, I was leaving to go give my dealership, like all the RVs, to somebody So I went to a guy that was opening up an RV dealership, and I said, hey, I've got this place, and I'm trying to just get out of it. I said I don't want anything for it, but I've got like 25 RVs that I have on consignment. I'd like to bring them over here. You don't have any inventory yet. You just opened up. I'll bring them over here, and I just need a license to operate under. Like I'll even operate under your license. I'll be a salesperson. You don't have to pay me anything. I'll just take like the regular sales commission, 20%, on the RVs. The guy I was talking to. Had other people in the room. It was cold, I remember, and I was sitting at his desk, and he turned his back on me and started talking to somebody over here. And I thought, well, that probably was just a mistake. Like he just didn't understand what I was saying. So I walked in front of him and I said, "You're not understanding what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't want anything. You don't even have to hire me as a salesperson. I just want you to come pick up these 25 RVs. I don't want to call them and tell them to come bring them home. I did a lot of work to get them. Just come get them for free and put them on your lot, and you can sell them." He literally turned around and started talking to somebody else. And so I left out of there, and I was so frustrated. I was driving in Baton Rouge. I was driving down Florida Boulevard, going to another guy that had an RV dealership. There was a little bitty RV dealership in Denham Springs. And when I was driving there, I was processing everything that just happened. I was like, man, I cannot believe this guy just did this. And so like I remember when I crossed the bridge, my dad had always told me, if you want to sell RVs, like you should be somewhere where people can find you. That's all you have to be. You don't have to be like, you don't have to rent a big exclusive place. Just be somewhere where people can find you. And my last name is Dupont, which means of the bridge. Dupont means of the bridge. Mm-hmm. And I crossed the bridge, and there was a vacant piece of land on the right, grass 7 foot tall. I mean, it was not an RV lot. But I pulled in, and I looked at it, and nobody was there. And I drove to the back, and there was a gravel pit back there. And I knocked on the door of the gravel pit. It was a little grass, the horrible looking trailer. And the guy wasn't in there. And somebody on the bulldozer said, "Hey, he's over in his truck." I went and talked to him. And long story short, I worked out a deal. I told the guy, I said, "Hey, I got 25 RVs. I need to park them somewhere to sell them, to get rid of them. But I'm going to probably have to get a license, and I don't have the money for a license." I was 20 or 21. Yeah. Like, I don't have the money for a license. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but can I possibly park these RVs up here to where I can get rid of them? I'll cut the grass. I don't have a lawnmower, but if you give me like a bush hog or something, like I'll cut the grass, I'll do whatever I got to do. And he said, "Well, I don't know, man." He said, "Oh, what can you pay me?" And I said, $500 is all I can pay you. That's what I'm paying the guy for the for the closet. I'm paying him $500 a month, so I can give you $500 a month. He said, "Well, let me talk about it." And he called me back like 10 minutes later after I left. He said, "I talked to my dad, and he said, I think we're going to do it." He said, "When did you come in?" I said, "Well," I said, "I need your trailer." This is his office trailer. Mm-hmm. I said, I need a trailer to like have a place to put a phone." And he was like, "So what am I supposed to do?" And I was like, "Oh, I mean, you can share it with me or whatever." Like I said, "I just need an office. Like I need to have like," he said, "Nah, keep the trailer." He's like, "You can use the trailer." And so I took that trailer over. When I got in there, this is a gravel pit. When I say it was this thick of mud, like it was caked, like that somewhere under that mud was carpet, but it was this thick of mud. I ripped all the carpet out. I fixed everything up. About probably a couple months later, I finally got the place like to where I could start selling stuff out of this RV. I mean, out of this mobile home. The guy that ignored me drove up, and he says, "Hey, man, I see you open up an RV dealership. It's right down the street from us, and I was just thinking maybe you want to come to work for me."
Okay, now.
That's
right.
Literally what I thought. And the reason I told that story is because the people that are ignoring you right now, that are like not paying attention to you, that are saying you're not skilled enough, you don't have like what it takes, I'm not going to, and they're going to be rude, and they're going to be, the people that are your haters, they're eventually going to try to hire you.
No, that's what's happening right now.
Okay.
I love this. And
okay.
like I said, the first time.
Yeah, first time was.
No.
Okay.
And that was 2018. Fast forward to 2025, things are different.
Okay.
A lot more experience, a lot more states under my belt, and it's different this time. The first time I felt every bit of that, though. It was like you don't get a lot of support at first until you have evidence of what you're capable of.
Success. Yeah.
100%. So like my personal social profiles, I am not a content creator. My content is so cringe. So part of my gift is that it is cringe, and I had to go around the world to build my accounts without having good content and a bunch of haters. Now I was able to do it with the obstacles in the way. And now it's like smooth sailing. People come to me because they're like, they see the evidence of my work because I took it upon myself to do my own personal accounts while I had a corporate job. So if you start building anything, if you can do it in an ethical way, start while you already have a job,
Right.
you're like 33% more likely to succeed. So that's what I did the second time, because I learned the first time I didn't know enough, and then I learned what I needed to know. Now I'm good
I'm
to go.
laughing because I remember the first time I brought home, I had on that RV lot, I had a trade in, and the first time I brought it home, and I was so proud, like I had cleared the trade in, like it was all my profit was tied up in it. When I say it literally they had used it for target practice. It had shotgun holes this big in the side of the RV. I brought it on a green shag carpet. When I pulled in the driveway and turned the engine off, it backfired. And the engine compartment caught on fire, and it's burned all the carpet up around. I remember my wife came outside. She started crying. She's like, "That's our profit? Like that's what we made?" So I'm encouraging you. Like don't like even on the second time, like you're starting out in it, like don't let the haters like come back because they're coming.
That's the beauty of
They're
it.
coming
Though.
for
It's
you.
like
Yeah.
I have 168 hours. The last thing I'm gonna waste my time on is somebody who doesn't want to work with me.
Right.
You know what
Right.
I mean? You just learn that, and you get really thick skin about it, and then you work with those that work well with you.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at with it. So I feel like it's easier this time because I'm more prepared to handle the boundaries that it requires. The first go round, I didn't know about boundaries at all, and I'm like everything for everybody. And now it's like, stick to the people that get it, that show up and put in the reps, and then everybody else who's not putting in the reps is just noise.
Yeah.
And your views, you get paid the same. So whether they like you or not, if you monetize your platforms,
You're gonna make it.
you're going to make it.
Yeah, you're going to make it. I think, so for me, like the thing I would say is for an entrepreneur that's starting out, because that's really like you're in the second phase, like you're starting out again.
Right.
You're in the second phase. For the entrepreneur that's starting out, like I think there's a lot of people out here that's going to identify with you, like where your path and your journey has come. Like that, okay, you stepped out without any coaching, nobody helping you, nobody guiding you, nobody giving you any advice, and you stepped on your own, and you just said, entrepreneurialism, I'll just quit my job. I'm gonna become a millionaire. I'm halfway there. I'm gonna be the person. Then
Super optimistic.
yeah, the next time you're like, okay, I'm gonna keep my day job and work on this until it actually brings up my revenue to where it surpasses my day job. And I recommend for the entrepreneur is that revenue should surpass your day job, and you should have 90 days worth of income before you quit that day job, so that
You're
not
going to get some curveballs when you leave your corporate job.
Yeah, when you leave your corporate job.
Absolutely. You'll miss your insurance. You'll miss, your bonuses. You'll miss that steady paycheck. One of the biggest learning curves that people have to learn the hard way that I just recently went through is when you're used to getting one big check a month and then you start getting drips.
Yeah.
You get the drips, and then all your auto bills that come out automatically, you have to go shift the days.
Yeah, that's the reason why I said like you need to get 90 days worth of income.
100%, but that's not what. So I thought I had that, and then didn't.
Yeah.
So it's been fun, but your job as a CEO is to raise capital.
Well, and the difference
you have to be able to get the money.
But I think the difference is for me, like what I'm saying is that you have to be willing to go deliver pizzas, to be the Uber Eat girl, to do what it takes until the problem I see so many times as entrepreneurs is like they start choking out the baby and saying, you need to provide for me. That baby isn't supposed to provide for you. A teenager, maybe.
I've never taken a job in my entire life that I got a paycheck before I started.
Yeah.
You always have, that's another one that people don't see, I feel like, is I've done so much work for free. I've got 15 years of just helping people and not knowing what I was doing with helping people. And I've gotten really specific the last 5 years of helping entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. And most of the work I have done until I started my business and had to accept a profit was for free. I had to go learn with the opportunity to learn. And so not that you shouldn't accept money or whatever, but while you have a corporate job, it's finicky. So I didn't accept any money while I had a corporate job.
Right.
I just worked for free while I had a corporate job to learn about more things that were like my blind areas. So I didn't accept any money while I had a corporate job. That's why I had this little weird...
Yeah.
I gotta like get the drips of money in the
So
beginning, but now it's better.
the key that I think to what you're doing is two things. One, you're stepping into entrepreneur world. What you got to realize is picture like an ocean of people that just got off the Titanic, and it's freezing water, and there's only one piece of wood, and there's a girl on it that's got a big emerald on her. You know what I mean? And like everybody else is like out there, and so like you just got to be careful because like as an entrepreneur, as somebody helping entrepreneurs, there's a lot of people that are in a death spiral. Like you have to be able to sit back and get up a high enough view to be able to see, okay, which are the ones that are actually going to make it.
You can tell.
Yeah, you
like
see what I'm saying?
after
Like,
you've done about 100 of them,
right.
you can
But which
tell.
ones are going to pull me under the water? Which ones are
I've
going
had
to
a couple
drown me?
of those too.
Right. You see what I'm saying? Like which ones are going to
absolutely.
drown me because they're out of control. And when you're out of control as an entrepreneur, you start doing things that don't make sense. My dad was a lifeguard, and he said that more lifeguards get killed every year by drowning victims than drowning victims die in the water.
Wow.
You need to let that sink in. Like more lifeguards get killed from drowning victims than the drowning victims that didn't even have a lifeguard to come get them. And it's because a drowning victim will bash you in the head,
Oh, they'll drown
beat you up.
Yeah.
And I'm saying there's entrepreneurs out there, they're going to bang you in the head and they're drowning.
That's why I'm
And
very
so-
selective.
Yeah, they're going to just like throw all of their junk on you and be like, okay, you handle everything for me because I'm drowning and I don't know what I'm doing and I'm dying. And so just be cautious of like, make sure that you take time. I think that what that requires is evaluation. And you and I've talked about this before, like, cause you're helping me with a lot of stuff that I'm doing. But like taking that evaluation period. And I remember whenever I went out with my wife, like the very first time I went on a date with her, I sat her down and said, look, I need to go ahead and like date you for like 6 weeks. I'm not going to hold your hand. I'm not going to kiss you. I'm not going to say I love you. I'm not doing any of that stuff because that messes with my judgment. Like I'll make bad decisions based on emotion. I'm just going to get to know you. And then after that, we can move forward, or we can just say, that's it.
That's
We're
why I
going to
don't
stop.
charge at first.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds very like counterintuitive to most entrepreneurs. Like, I want the money right now. And
So
I need the money right
speak
now.
about that. Like, tell me like about that. Like, what do you
I
mean?
like to see if it's a good marriage. Like you said, like, is
Yeah.
this going to be a good setup for both of us? Do we work well together? Can I call you and feel comfortable doing that? Can I make sure that whatever's in your head as the founder gets on paper for your team to where you're not having to repeat yourself too many times? I feel like that's the bottleneck because like a lot of entrepreneurs handle all the hats, and my job is to take all the hats out of your head, put them on a Google Calendar, and help you start to delegate, hire staff, create documents for that.
So what you don't recognize is that the entrepreneur on the other side of the table is also evaluating you.
Right.
And
No,
so-
yeah, of course. They
and so,
are. Yeah.
And so what I'm telling you is that, and I mean, I'm not trying to, tell you what to do. I'm just saying
Yeah.
it's like to me, I would charge a flat rate and say, hey, this is an evaluation period. At the end of 30 days, if you don't like me and I don't like you, then we can walk away and we're friends. Like, it's okay. You've paid me this amount of money. I'll give you the money back. And then we're done. Like, that's it. But otherwise, there's no skin in the game
I know.
because the guy has no reason to call you back because he doesn't have any, you follow what I'm saying?
Yes and
There-
no.
There's no reason, like, there's no fear of loss.
Yeah.
The reason why the guy's going to call you back after a date is because he wants you to go out with him again.
Well,
there's
that
a
you
fear of
will
loss.
want to go out with me again because I usually like our start has been a little different because onboarding for
Yeah.
business coaching is different. You have to get
No, it's a lot.
way more information.
There's a lot.
than you
I've
typically
I've been in
would.
your shoes is what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
I decided not to coach because I figured
I'm
out that
picky.
I would just hate the people by the time I got to the point of actually helping them.
I'm very good at meeting people where they are and understanding where they are. I do a lot of listening and asking questions. With you in particular, you have a lot of irons in the fire
Oh, yeah.
all the time, and you're very busy. And so,
Yeah, and I wasn't
most-
necessarily talking about me. I mean, like we're gonna figure it out, but I'm
Of
just saying, like,
course.
I'm talking
No, I
about
meant,
for
like, I'm saying most of the people that I work with right now, they've known me for several years, and they
Mhm.
know what I do and what I work on, and like,
Yeah.
they appreciate the value because they see the return on their investment over time because we've worked together for 5 and 6 years. So now, all my new clients, I do have to kind of like package my stuff a little differently to if I wanted to do volume or scale it in some way. there's some technology in my stack right now that I'm just wanting to test. And I'm a slow person. I think entrepreneurship isn't about speed necessarily. It is for some people. For a business consultant, it's not about speed because I want these businesses to last forever. And I don't need to necessarily rush through the build out process or the ops. Like it'll take me about a quarter to take you from red to black. And so
yeah, I get it. And I wasn't trying to put you on the spot. I was
No,
just
it's
trying
okay.
I was trying to say,
this.
like, from my side of the table of what I see people, like, I feel like that there's a lot of entrepreneurs. It's like, I've done this. Like I did this with a particular business, and I stepped in and I like sold out. I didn't get paid a dime. I just like went in and like I did everything. They didn't even appreciate what I did. Like, they didn't even understand, and they wouldn't give me their passwords, and they wouldn't give me their stuff. And I was like, okay, at some point, like, this is not going to. I was filming a TV show, so it made sense for me.
I've gotten through all those frustrating points myself, and that's why I'm so particular about it, and that's why I price myself the way that I have, because it is about how you price yourself too. Because to be a business coach, like, you have to be able to make them more than what it costs to work with you, and so. Like, I have daily huddles with all my teams, Monday through Friday, 15 minutes here and there. We have a managers meeting once a month. We'll do an owners meeting, like once a month, twice a month, something like that. And it's for a reasonable cost. Most of the people I work with have multiple businesses, and they have like this one thorn in their side that if they just get the ops right, the ops and the marketing, if they just get those two things to sing and hire the right amount of people, this would be the last part of their portfolio that would help the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So most of my clients have multiple doors. It's not like this is a single venture. So my clients are really special people, and I have long-term relationships because I don't need a lot of them.
Yeah.
So it's a little different of a model where most people are thinking scalability and where's your packages and can I buy something from you right now? And I'm like, I haven't packaged anything because I'm working on the tech stack that you could go get yourself, because I'm a big, like, save your management costs. I see that for businesses. You pay a lot of management fees and you don't even know exactly what it is they're managing. I first started with this fitness company grading their marketers, trying to decide like what was working, what wasn't working, which platforms we should use, things like that.
It's so hard. Like, in today's economy, like I can tell you, like, personally, I have to get rocket money to tell me what I've subscribed to, because
Same.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I have like AI platforms that are pulling out $400 a month, and I'm like, oh, but wait, I saw that at midnight one night. I didn't know I signed up for that. Like, what, you know what I'm saying? Like
it's
I've got
of managing
all this stuff,
fees
and most entrepreneurs don't realize that, hey, you're probably spending $2,000-$3,000 a month on all of this stuff. High level, go high level. I mean, like, that's like an expensive, little deal. I mean, it's $500 a month, and you don't think about it as expensive, but whenever you have 4 different things, go high level, Salesforce, all these different little plugs, and all of a sudden you're like, I personally own, I think I counted 20 websites that I manage, and so, like, how do you even, what I'm saying? Like, so to have somebody that can come in and literally take a sky level, view, a 10,000 foot approach, and look at it, I feel like that's healthy. Like, to have people to evaluate it.
Yeah, it saves you a lot of money.
Yeah.
I want to save you more than what it costs to work with me. That's my ultimate goal. I'm not a marketing company necessarily. I do marketing, but I'm an organic girl. I like to get in there and poke the buttons and find the influencers and share the stories and tag the right accounts. And I'm a poker. Like, I like to poke at social because it's like stoking a fire.
Yeah.
Like, you can pay for ads all day long, but if you don't have your channels set up for people to find you the right way.
Right.
And your team should know how to do this. There's a transition that's happening right now from regular marketing where you throw ad dollars at Meta or whoever to give you a response. And then there's those that know that the management is actually in the how much of a percentage are you using to compete with Santa Claus, or are you pausing these ads on a specific day?
Well, measured growth, I think, is the thing that's so key. I think, like, for me, if I was sitting in your chair talking to me or to an entrepreneur, I would say, hey, the first thing I need to do is I need to evaluate what you're spending. Let's evaluate. They don't even know. I can tell you honestly, like, most of the entrepreneurs I deal with, like, they don't know. They
know the total. They just don't know where it's going or what the return is or where the leads are tagged to.
They don't know, like, what's the, like, ROI, CAC, things like this. Like, the entrepreneurs on my level, like, like I deal with guys that are on this level, and they all understand that. Like that's the thing that we measure every week. I have people giving reports on my ROI and CAC and everything on everything that I do. But in the actual side of it, as far as advertising and doing that kind of stuff, I don't know that I have ROI on other things, but I don't necessarily have it on all of the things I'm spending money on for AI.
A little thing that could be helpful to just anybody that's starting to log their books properly on your P&Ls, if your marketing is split between just your management fees and your actual ad spend. That's a good little cleanup you can do pretty quickly. You probably already do this, but you'd be surprised how many people just say, I spend $12,000 a month in marketing. And I'm like, how much of that is management? How much is ads? And what's your return on the ad spend? And which are the platforms? And show me the leads from each bucket.
I greatly appreciate you coming on the show. We went a little bit over, but it was just so interesting, like digging into some of this stuff. I think is super critical for entrepreneurs. And thank you for spending the time with us.
Yeah, thank you. This was great.
Yep.
That's it for this episode of The Tenacious Entrepreneur. Thanks for tuning in and being part of this journey. Are you an entrepreneur with a tenacious story? We want to hear from you. Visit our website, tenaciousentrepreneur.com, and click on the Tell My Story link. If you got something valuable from today's episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a fellow entrepreneur. Keep pushing forward, and remember, the end is only the beginning. A new episode drops every Wednesday at 7:14 a.m. Until then, remember to stay humble, stay focused, and be tenacious.